Hello, my name is Reverend Dr. May Elise Cannon. Today is July 20th, Saturday, day 288 since the Hamas attacks on the south of Israel. A few days ago, OXFAM published a press release saying that Israel is using water as a weapon of war. And the water supply in Gaza is plummeting. It is plummeted by 94%, according to OXFAM. They put out this press release. They said that this water crisis is creating a deadly health catastrophe. This report was published on July 17th. According to the report, Israel has damaged or destroyed 5 water and sanitation sites every 3 days since October 7th. The report details that Israel has been systematically weaponizing water against Palestinians in Gaza, showing disregard for human life and international law. The report is called Water War Crimes and concludes that the amount of water available per person in Gaza is now down 94% and is limited to only 4.74 liters of water per day. For reference, the World Health Organization says that a human being's needs for short-term survival is 20 liters of water per day for drinking and hygiene. When you go to more normal living circumstances, that amount of the minimum amount of water needed is more like 120 liters of water per day. That's for washing vegetables and for cooking and for food and for cleaning and things like that. Most people in Gaza, all people in Gaza, the average is less than 5 liters of water per day. This is such a catastrophe. In February of this year, my colleague and I, Dr. Ben Norquist, co-wrote an article for the Christian Century. It's called "In Gaza, Water is Life. Fresh water is scarce." It was scarce even before the war. More than 99% of the water in Gaza was not potable before October 7th. And we wrote this in February. Now the situation is dire. It's been 5 months since then, and the situation's even worse. And the people in the United States and governments around the world, they're barely paying attention. It's astounding. And I found out today, according to the Environmental Protection Agency, the new, shower heads, they use 2.5 liters of water every minute. The average American takes a 7-minute shower. So we use 20 liters of water in our one shower. And Palestinians have less than 5 liters of water per day. God have mercy. In other news, in the last 24 hours, the Houthis, had sent some drones, and one of them had killed an individual in Tel Aviv. The Israeli Defense Forces struck Houthi-controlled parts of Yemen. The name of a port is called Hodeidah in Yemen. I'm sure I'm not pronouncing that correctly. I apologize. But that happened in the last 24 hours. And so this is the furthest strike Israel has ever had geographically. This was a day after the Houthi drones struck Tel Aviv, where one person died. So the Houthis are backed by Iran. They're based in Yemen. They have reported that an oil refinery and an electricity plant were struck. The Hezbollah-affiliated Al-Mayadeen reported that Israeli F-35 fighter jets were responsible for the strikes. On state-run media, the Houthis threatened to respond to the Israeli attacks. So we're seeing escalations. This is horrific news. The Houthis' health ministry reported there were casualties. We don't have further details, as of Saturday evening in Washington, D.C. The strike was the first time Israel has ever targeted Yemen. This was the longest ranged airstrikes. It's 1,800 kilometers from Israel. The IDF said that the U.S. was informed about the strike before it took place. According to Al Jazeera, the Houthi-run media say Israeli airstrikes have targeted oil storage facilities. Houthis declared war in response to this. And so the Houthis have declared war on Israel and its allies. A journalist and political analyst has reported that the Houthis believe the Israeli attack was carried out in coordination with the United States, the UK, and other allies, including Arab ones. The Houthis have said any state, any Arab regime, any government in the region that helps Israel or the US carry out attacks on Yemen will be met with retaliation. Mauri is the name of this journalist. He was speaking from Sana'a. It's going to be an all-out attack against Israel, the US, and British military across the region, whether that would be on the island of Socotra here in Yemen, US military bases in Saudi Arabia, the UAE, and Jordan, he told Al Jazeera. The Houthis are basically declaring war on Israel, the US, the British government, and any Arab regime considered an ally of Israel. Lord have mercy. More than 40 rockets were fired from Lebanon at Galilee and the Golan regions of northern Israel, according to the IDF. A rocket fell on Kibbutz Amir, damaged a factory, according to a local council. There were no casualties reported. The Israeli army said the Air Force struck buildings used by Hezbollah near a village of Hula in southern Lebanon. A report in Lebanon claims that an Israeli aircraft struck a vehicle in a village in the Marjayun district. And in Gaza, at least 30 people were killed as Israeli Defense Forces tanks advanced deeper into western and northern Rafah, according to Reuters. The IDF has said fighter jets attacked a building in Gaza that has been used by a company that has been transferring money to militant organizations. The Army statement said the building was located in a humanitarian zone in Deir al-Balah and was surrounded by precise explosives to minimize harm to uninvolved civilians. In the West Bank, Israeli settlers attacked a Palestinian man and woman with sticks in the West Bank village of Sha'ab al-Batum on Friday night. Both were hospitalized with head injuries. And Palestinians have mourned today 20-year-old Ibrahim Zakek, who was killed by Israeli forces in a West Bank raid near Beit Omar. Beit Omar is a Palestinian village on the Hebron Road near Hebron in the occupied West Bank. Hundreds of mourners marched in a funeral procession. Ibrahim Zakek was fatally shot in the head during this raid that led to confrontations. The Israeli army opened live fire on Palestinians. They used stun grenades and tear gas, according to Wafa, which is a Palestinian news source. Zakek had been in Israeli prison and then was released about a month ago, according to his sister. Sources close to President Biden told the New York Times that his advisors have said he will not leave the presidential race prior to Netanyahu's visit to Washington, D.C. You'll recall Netanyahu comes on Wednesday, the 24th. Please join us for our prayer service at 9 a.m. Wednesday morning. That will also be live streamed. President Biden does not want to give Prime Minister Netanyahu, quote, the satisfaction, end quote. Senator Brian Schatz, a Jewish Democratic senator from Hawaii, said he will skip Netanyahu's speech to Congress next week. He accused Netanyahu of attending to deliver a clearly partisan address to Congress just months ahead of our elections. Adding, as a member of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, I welcome a substantive discussion about the future, not political rhetoric that will do nothing to bring peace to the region. Senator Van Hollen has also been in Israel this week and has been having meetings with both Palestinian and Israeli leaders. That visit's been happening as well. Opposition officials in Syria claimed that Israel attacked an army base in the Daraa governorate in the south of Syria. And if you are in Washington, D.C. tomorrow, I will be at Norwood Church after services, giving a talk on Christian responses in the midst of the attacks on Gaza. That will also, I think, be streamed online. And tomorrow afternoon at 3:30 p.m., we'll have a Solidarity Sunday prayer time together. So I hope that you'll join us for Solidarity Sunday tomorrow, praying for peace in churches all over the United States and the world. May we not give up meeting together, and may we not give up hope. Amen.